Robert O'Neill was raised in Montana, joined the Navy at 19 in 1996, deployed as a Navy SEAL more than a dozen times, 400 combat missions, 4 different theaters of war. He was decorated more than 52 times. He's received 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars with Valor. Holy cow. Joint Service Commendation Medal with Valor, 3 Presidential Unit Citations, and a Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal with Valor. Kind of a big deal. Lone survivor, he was part of that mission to save Marcus Luttrell, Captain Phillips and the Somali pirates, which we're not going to get into today, but it's in his new book called The Operator. I'd love to hear about that. That is one of the most remarkable shooting I've ever seen.
Just getting there, from a kiss on my daughter's forehead in her preschool for an Easter tea party to the Indian Ocean in less than 16 hours. Because they let us know then, and they called us, and then we're out, and then we're over there, and then we rescued them on Easter.
And then probably if somebody would have actually gone in and killed Adolf Hitler, those guys would have been known as, known forever. That story would have been told. The killing of Osama bin Laden is probably that big, and our president had a hard time deciding whether to do it or not. When you guys went in, it's my understanding, he said, don't call the State Department. You're on your own. If things go wrong, you're on your own. Is that true?
I'm not sure how it went down with that. I know there were, we had talks amongst the group what would happen if we ran out of fuel and had to negotiate our ways out. Who were they going to send over to Islamabad to talk with Zardari? Who's going to do what?
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that we compartmentalize as far as we know this and we know that. We don't need to get involved with the politics. But
but you went over there fully expecting to die.
I knew it was a one-way mission, and most of the guys there did too. But we accepted it because of we had the conversation. We're doing this for the single mom who dropped her kids off at school on a Tuesday morning and then 45 minutes later jumped to her death out of the windows on the world, because that was a better alternative than 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit inside, holding her skirt down as her last gesture of human decency so no one could see her underwear as she killed herself. She wasn't supposed to do that. The people on Flight 93 that took over the cockpit to crash it in Pennsylvania to save people in Washington, they didn't need to fight the people in the Pentagon. We went for them because that wasn't their fight. The Port Authority, the police department, NYPD, FDNY. That day, we were asked to take out the guy that funded that laughed about it, that thought it was part of his time on Earth. We went for that. So we accepted the one-way mission.
Because this is your life at stake here.
Yes.
Right? Is it offensive when you hear, say, Joe Biden say this is the most difficult decision in 500 years? I mean, this is if you had only a 1% chance of success and you knew there was a 99% chance that you were going to die, would you still have wanted to go on that mission?
We didn't call dying. Dying didn't mean we didn't succeed. We knew that if I even moved myself from the perimeter to the rooftop team that was going to land there, and we called ourselves the Martyrs Brigade, tongue-in-cheek, because once we get on the rooftop, the whole building's going up. But we're going to.
You thought they would blow it up?
He would blow it up. If anyone's going to kill himself in a house-born improvised explosive device, it's Osama bin Laden. But we accepted that because we got him. I mean, it's better. We're going to die eventually, and we might as well get this guy for everybody else.
Okay, so you climbed up a stairwell.
Yes.
And you come to the 3rd floor, and you say you come around the corner, and there standing in front of you is a guy who is skinnier
than I thought, and taller. But how I got there was incredible. Because we didn't land where we were supposed to, I was sort of in the back, and I watched my team work. And watching other guys, knowing this is their last day on Earth, watching them still do their jobs methodically, slow as smooth, smooth as fast, get through this door, get through that door, went up the stairs, cleared some more rooms. And then when we finally got to the top, I was right in the front with one guy in front of me. And he went up the stairs knowing there were suicide bombers. He opened a curtain and jumped on what he thought were suicide bombers. So I watched a guy jump on the grenade that didn't go off. And that's historically heroic. He did that, and I turned the corner just based on it's not like I came through the skylight and saved the day. I just did what every other special operator would have done, and there was bin Laden. And he's taller, 6'3", skinnier, short beard, gray hair. That's his nose. He's a threat. He's not surrendering.
And he's standing behind his wife's wife.
And he's sort of pushing her towards me. And he's a matter of feet away. And
how far?
3 or 4 feet. He's just standing right there, basically in the doorway. And just based on his movement, he's not surrendering. He is a suicide bomber, and I need to treat him like a suicide bomber. That's why I shot him in the head. And I've dealt with suicide bombers before. There's stories in the book. It's so big and loud, and it's over fast that if you don't shoot him in the head, you're going to die with him. And it was over before it started. I shot him.
Did he have a vest? No,
he didn't. Okay. But I thought he did. He wasn't surrendering.
All right. So you shoot him in the head. It's not like in the movies. No. They don't go flying back on the bed.
He fell straight down. His head went, as I was looking at the bed, right to the bottom left-hand part of the bed. His wife was there. And I grabbed her to move her aside, gave her a brief search, sat her on the bed. And I remember looking over, and his son was standing there like a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a father just thinking, this poor guy has got nothing to do with this. And I picked him up and then moved him. And at that point, other SEALs are coming in the room, and that's when it kind of hit me. And a buddy came up to me and laughed, and he goes, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do we do now?" And he smiled and said, "Well, now we find the computers. You've done this hundreds of times." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm back." And he goes, "Yeah, bro, you just killed bin Laden, so your life just changed." It's like, and then we did the rest of our clearance, found what we could electronically.
What happened to his body?
We put it in a body bag, and we carried him out on a helicopter, brought him back, and showed him to the admiral. Some of the analysts brought him to another spot. The FBI did a lot of DNA tests on him and photos and things, and then we handed him off to some Rangers. They flew him out to the Persian Gulf and then disposed of him. That was it. It was a good call, too. People ask about that, too. And I get all the wild conspiracy theories about he was this and he was that and you didn't kill him. And it's like,
I'm telling you, he is in the freezer next to Walt Disney and the Jungle Book cruise. Right there. That's what's happening. You've started a 501c3. You started a mission. It's your charity is yourgratefulnation.org. What is it?
I got out of the Navy at about 17 years, which is 3 years shy of a pension. And I realized that how difficult you think it is to find a job because all you know is what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But you have skills, especially as a veteran, but especially as a special operator that employers want, which is stress management, team building, show up on time, loyalty, things like that, and they'll hire. And I talk to a lot of guys that want to get out, but they'd rather go to combat than fill out a resume because at least combat makes sense. So what we do with Your Grateful Nation is we find out what line of work they want. It's individualized. Find out what they want, where they want to live. We'll find that company, get them a mentor, put them through a 9-month program, and then they get placed in their second career. And it's the best email I get every other day is, we placed Staff Sergeant Jones with this job with Fox Sports, or we did this and this guy's working at Merrill Lynch. And having the families, the wives at some of the events that we have, they'll just say, we couldn't have done this, our family could not have done this without Your Grateful Nation. It's the best feeling. It's my passion right now.
I'll tell you, the servicemen that I know, and everybody has not a Bo Bergdahl, but every, profession has dirtbags in it. But there is a higher percentage of honor and integrity, I think, in the armed forces than any other.
No doubt about it. And that's the one thing you can't teach in college that they said the military guys have is loyalty. They're so loyal. And honestly, Your Grateful Nation started as let's help the vets get jobs. Now it's, do you want to make your company better? We'll give you someone that you...
Are we still, is the Navy that you went into in 96, is it still the Navy that a lot of parents that listen to this program are very concerned, especially over the last 8 years, but they wonder what the rot has been. We've taken out just war theory. We've changed fundamentally.
A lot of the social experimentations affected it quite a bit. A lot of the verbiage, you can't, like they said, my favorite word, and I even use it in the book, is shipmate. I love the word shipmate. They took it out of boot camp because it's derogatory. You can't call people shipmate. I love that word.
What can't you call a shipmate?
I don't know.
Derogatory?
I think they changed it to sea warrior.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, sea warrior.
That's again just hiding from the big elephant and dungarees in the room. It's like, come on, he's there, and I mean, as far as the other stuff, there are places you don't need the military to test social experiments. Should there be women in combat? Well, we've had women in combat. Should there be gays in the military? We have had gays in the military. Nobody cared, but the media wanted to make a big thing out of it, a big political thing. It's like, they're here, they're doing fine. Why do we need to? Morale is so big in the military, in units in combat. You need to have morale high to succeed. And when you start putting nonsensical baggage on them, it wears on the morale. There's no reason for it. And then the funding.
Who is it we had in last couple of weeks that was talking about all of the restrictions put on our military that, it's
Rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement are just insane.
Yeah, that's a tough one. People shouldn't be wondering if they're going to go to jail for taking this shot when it's you know, either he. I had a thought though, since we're experimenting. The person who's in an office typing up the rules of engagement, you should have someone shooting at them while they're typing. That'll work. How are you going to defend yourself? You can sit there and type, or you can do something about it.
The Operator is the name of the book. Firing the shots that killed Osama bin Laden and my years as a SEAL team warrior. Robert O'Neill writes it in a way that you are there standing behind and seeing everything and feeling everything that he felt. The Operator is the name of the book, and his charity, if you want to get involved, is yourgratefulnation.org, yourgratefulnation.org. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
You bet.
Thanks.